Happy Kara no Kyokai collab everyone, Soberoni of G&A Reviews here with a servant spotlight for Best Shiki Ryougi Shiki Assassin. We'll be examining her stats and skills, as well as going over pointers on how to utilize her effectively, and an overall grade comparing her to how she stacks up to the other 4-star servants. I also have a spotlight up for her 5-star variant, Saber Shiki, linked in the description below, so do check that out right after this. Now, on to Shiki stats. Shiki has a max HP of 11,055, which is low for a 4-star assassin and pretty low overall among all 4-star servants. Her max attack of 8,867 is also below average for a 4-star assassin and below average for a 4-star servant overall. Now taking a look at her skills, Shiki's first skill is Mystic Eyes of Death Perception rank A, which applies Ignore Invincibility for 1 turn, increases Arts Card Effectiveness for 1 turn between 30 to 50%, and decreases Death Resist of an enemy for 1 turn between 80 and 100%, all depending on level. Her second skill is Mind's Eye Fake, rank A, which applies Evade for 1 turn and increases crit strength for 3 turns between 30 to 40%, depending on level. And finally, her last skill is Yin Yang, rank B, which increases her Noble Phantasm gauge between 20 to 30% at the cost of 1,000 HP, again depending on level. Her passives are Presence Concealment rank C, which increases crit star drop rate by 6%, and Independent Action rank A, which increases her crit strength by 10%. As for her deck and Noble Phantasm, Shiki has a semi-arts deck with Quick, Arts Buster, and an Arts Noble Phantasm. Her Noble Phantasm is Ryougi Shiki Cho Kushi no Magan, which deals significant damage to a single enemy that ignores defense with between a 900 to 1500% damage modifier depending on level, and it has a chance to insta-kill between 100 to 140% depending on overcharge. Taking a closer look at her deck, we see that her Quick card hits 4 times, her Arts card hits twice, her Buster hits 1 time, and her extra attack hits 5 times. She has a Noble Phantasm gain rate of 0.8% and a star rate of 25.6%. This means she has good Noble Phantasm gain just due to having 2 Arts cards and that 5 hits on her extra attack, and her star generating is really good too, thanks to her high star rate and a 4-hit Quick card. Assassin Shiki is our first real Arts assassin servant, and like most assassins, she has some very poor stats on paper, but assassins have never been about their HP or attack. They're about finding unique ways to kill their opponent, and Shiki is no exception. Like her Saber variant, it's immediately apparent what Shiki is built for, and that's exploiting the instant death mechanic. They even share a skill in the Mystic Eyes of Death Perception, and this is an incredibly strong skill that is Shiki's bread and butter, and it's where all her damage and killing potential is going to come from. It provides 3 strong buffs, a 50% Arts buff, a 100% death resist decrease on your opponent, and it allows you to pierce through evade and invincibility, ensuring that no one can dodge you. The 50% Arts buff alone is pretty huge because it's essentially an Arts mana burst, and interestingly enough, this is actually an even stronger version of the skill than Saber Shiki has, as it provides an extra 10% Arts buff and an extra 20% death debuff effect, although it is single target as opposed to Saber Shiki's being AoE. Assassin Shiki also shares another skill with her Saber version in Yin Yang, although it works in the opposite way, allowing Assassin Shiki to charge her Noble Phantasm up to 30% at the cost of 1000 HP, as opposed to recovering HP at the expense of Noble Phantasm charge. And this isn't the best skill given how low Shiki's HP is, but it can really help you throw out your Noble Phantasm in a clutch situation. But thankfully, Shiki's Mind's Eye provides her with slightly more survivability in the form of an evade, as well as a strong crit damage buff. You should definitely max out Mystic Eyes first, given how crucial it is, followed by Mind's Eye for the extra crit damage and the lower cooldown on the evade, and then finally max Yin Yang as it's not as important and it has a pretty significant merit on it. Shiki's Noble Phantasm is single target, and just like with all welfare servants, it's incredibly powerful given it will be at Noble Phantasm 5. On top of the damage, it also packs a high chance to instant kill, and Assassin Shiki's ability to instant kill a target is actually far stronger than her Saber versions. That said, don't let all the 100% fool you. Insta-killing a boss or a major enemy is just still next to impossible to do. Even with such strong buffs, you'll very rarely ever get the death effect on anything stronger than a Chimera or a demon. But unlike her Saber counterpart, Assassin Shiki doesn't need to rely on instant kills. Her damage output is ridiculously high on her Noble Phantasm, thanks to the mana burst like skill that she has, and the fact that it's Noble Phantasm 5, on top of her Noble Phantasm already having a pretty strong damage modifier. In addition, thanks to her high crit star generating and her independent action passive, along with her Mind's Eye skill, she can be a very self-sufficient crit servant, and her ability to crit hard and crit often makes up for her awful attack in most cases. And all this makes Shiki very adept at boss killing, even more so than Carmilla unless you're fighting a female opponent. Shiki's one of the few strong offensive assassins, and is more than strong enough to even outdamage some 5-star assassins. What makes Shiki even better though is just how useful she is in arch teams. Some of you have asked me who the best offensive arch servant is, not counting Vlad, and Shiki's probably a top candidate for that position. If you pair her alongside Nero Bride, Tamamo, Waver, Hans, or Mozart, she can be an offensive powerhouse. But thanks to her strong crit star generating, she can also play more of a support role as a star generator for any crit servant. But she pairs especially well in arch crits teams, where she can provide stars for servants like Emiya, Nursery Rhyme, Uriel, and Orion, while not clogging up their decks with too many buster or quick cards like most other crit star generators would. And finally, she can work as a crit servant herself. She might need a little extra help from a star generator like Mysterious Heroine X, Jack, Cursed Arm Hassan, or Okita though, and avoid using archers to generate stars for her, as they'll steal them away since they have a higher star weight. Brynhilda, Hans, and Waver also work well as crit supports for her, since Hans and Waver can boost her crit damage, while Brynhilda can heal her and improve her star gather rate. Shiki's Bondcraft Essence is Red Jumper. It improves the death rate of all allies by 30%. And while this is a cool craft essence, it's not a good one. As I mentioned, insta-killing an enemy is just not worth building a team around. Instead, stick with buffing Shiki's damage, and for that, Formocraft, Heaven's Feel, and Halloween Princess are best, since all will drastically increase your Noble Phantasm damage. And if you're using Shiki as a crit star generator, then you can't go wrong with Be Elegant, 2030, or even Street Choco Maid if you still want to keep some damage. Finally, if you're using her as a crit damage dealer, then another ending is the best option, but Gem Magegraph and Gudao are also good choices. Overall, Assassin Shiki is one of the best assassins in the game, period, 4-star or otherwise. Between her strong crits and powerful single target Noble Phantasm, she can pump out a ton of damage for an assassin. She works well as a crit star generator for both herself and for others. Her good Noble Phantasm gain coupled with Yin and Yang means she won't have any problems getting off her Noble Phantasm, and in the right team she can even spam it. And of course her Mystic Eyes in particular is one of the best skills in the game right now, and can really help her take down any mid-boss level enemies with ease. She does, however, suffer from low survivability even with her evade because of how low her HP is, and her insta-kill gimmick is not reliable and won't work against most real enemies or threats. Still though, she is the best welfare we have gotten to date, and she gets an A from me. Shiki stands tall as a titan in a class that has little to no standouts, and she can put up enough damage to match against Carmilla and even surpass some 5-stars, but she also has the slight edge given how much utility she has as a star generator and crit servant herself. And those are my thoughts on Assassin Shiki. She's a top tier 4-star for sure, and in my opinion, the best 4-star assassin you can get. Let me know what you think about her in the comments below. Also, please check out the Spotlight for Saber Shiki, the limited event servant, as well as my Kara no Kyokai event guide, both linked in the description and on screen. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you really enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. And if you haven't already, please join the party over at our Discord and follow us on Twitter. With all that said, I'll see you all in the next Spotlight. So we're only out. Later.